So what's shared here at this meeting can't be known. You can't know this because you are it. The me knows about, yeah? It knows about itself. That's the illusion. Because what you are is. So there's nothing to be known about it because it doesn't have any qualities, but it contains all qualities. To know something, you need separation. This to know that. You need two. And that's the illusion. So as Nkosi said last week, the me is thought-based. Thought-based, meaning it's constructed of thought. That's the sum total of the me. It's trying to get somewhere. One of Nkosi's meditations that he does with Alice periodically is he'll ask her to close her eyes and just be here and not do anything, have no intention to do anything, nothing. No agenda, no outcome, no enlightenment, nothing. So all expressions are this: the horn honking, your butt on the chair, this voice. This isn't Michael. This is this, because this is all that exists. So when the me thinks it's talking, it's not what's actually producing the noise. It would be like Mickey Mouse thinking, "Hi, boys and girls. you know, that that was his real voice, that he was producing that. But Mickey Mouse isn't producing his voice, it's the animator. So everything's just happening spontaneously, period. Meaning there's no explanation. It's just because it is. You know, it's like when a little kid says, well, how come? Well, cause. Well, why? Well, just, they don't need a reason. They just want it. So nothing needs a reason to be. Where the me has all these rules about how the world's supposed to look. And this has no, life has no rules at all. It doesn't know what a rule is. So the me will go, well, I don't feel safe without rules. Yeah. I don't feel safe without my rules. Now we just go back to Nkosi's raccoon. Who won't feel safe? There's okay, so there's a me and he's not going to feel safe. And right. So we're, no, that's all an imagination, like the raccoon. There's no me. So there's no me that needs help. You don't need any help because you're not the one that thinks it needs help. It sounds funny to say it this way, but you're whole and complete whether you like it or not. Like there's nothing you can do about your whole incompleteness because it's not your doing. It's life. Life is whole and complete. What are you going to do? And you're so free, you can complain about it. The me is free to complain. It doesn't touch this. That's the point. You're never touched by whatever the me says, unless you believe it. Unless you're believing the ghost, you're believing the raccoon. Did you guys just hear those bottles knock over? Did you hear that on the recording? I'm gonna say I think I have a raccoon in my trash can right now because I just heard a bunch of. I think there's like a guy going through our trash right now. So that's life too, because there's only life, and life's doing everything simultaneously. So while we're having this meeting here, there's seemingly someone going through the trash downstairs. There's all this hustle and bustle, and guess what? It never stops. Another way I've talked about this is if the idea that the me is thought-based resonates, then when I say what can a thought own? If the me is thought-based, then the me imagines, a thought imagines it owns things, people, objects. But if it dawns on you, oh, wait a second, what can a thought really own? right? Isn't it a thought that says, that's mine? And then you sell it, and then you have a thought that says, okay, now it's not mine. Now I don't care about it anymore. So our whole world is imagined. Right, Alice? And that's when Nkosi casually drops a bomb. And this always got me when he said this. He just casually goes, so nothing's happening. Right? So casually. There's nothing happening. Well, what? Because happening is thought-based. So a baby isn't thought-based yet because a baby hasn't learned the alphabet. So that's why they're very natural. They cry when they cry, you know, if they're hungry. It's just all happening spontaneously. And then at a certain point, when identification seems to happen, that's when the me shows up. And now everything is filtered through this sense of identification. And that's where judgment comes in, and that's the killer. That's actually what the me learned to do, was judge. And that is separation, because you need a me and an object that it's judging. And now you're divided. And that is so painful. Because you're divided from yourself. Now, how do you get out of that conundrum, right? How do you get out of this seemingly endless division? And it's that you see, and that's why Nkosi is such an amazing, stunning example, is because he's not divided. Because he sees everything, and I think Alice will vouch for this, through the eyes of love. A love that's not human. It's not Nkosi doing the love. It's a unconditional love that no person could do.
I'll just share with you one of my favorite things to say. The way I experience it, I meet with Nkosi every Saturday night at 8 o'clock. And I hope this doesn't sound strange, but I feel like I meet with Jesus every Saturday night. It feels that unconditional. It's amazing.
Yeah, well, because it is Jesus. Jesus wasn't a person. I mean, he was a person, like Nkosi is a person, but that love unconditionally is not human. It's not something a me can fabricate, because the me, by its nature, discriminates. It likes certain things, and it doesn't like other things. It's always seeing what's useful to it. That's not what love does. Right? And we can go into this. So if the me is always judging, what would be a quality of unconditional, like how would unconditional love view life? It would see everything as itself, would it not? So there wouldn't be judgment, because it's all it. It would only see love. Even if, right, here's the kicker, even if the object itself doesn't know it. So that's why Alice, when he's saying, even if someone's like raging and losing their cool and getting upset, You don't have to go with them. That's where he says, stay here, don't move. Stay in the peace that's beyond all understanding. In fact, I would say peace and love are synonyms. Where you find peace, you find love. Where you find love, you find peace. And where you find judgment, you don't find peace. And when you find judgment, you don't find love. So this is an open meeting. Everybody's welcome to share. Please go ahead and unmute if you'd like to share a comment or question.
I was just sharing before I forgot to unmute that Nkosi says everything is beautiful, and he says it a lot of times actually, and it's starting to really seem real to me. Everything's beautiful in that place that he seems to be talking from. That no matter what it is, it's beautiful, and what a way to live. I mean, to see everything is beautiful all the time. Wow.
Well, that's the unconditional love, right? So that's what Nkosi's not doing, because Nkosi couldn't do that. You
Right.
couldn't do that. I couldn't do that. No me can do unconditional love.
Nope.
It's just not possible. So they're already, see, the thing is, the love is already here. But it gets covered over when we're busy looking for it, funny enough. It's almost like a riddle, right? I'm in plain sight, but when you look for me, you can't find me. So I could say this, there's really nothing to look for. There's really nothing to search for. There's just this. There's just what's happening. It's too simple, right? Just this is too simple. Hi, Nkosi.
Hello, Mike.
Hi, Nkosi.
Hello, everyone.
May I say something?
Sure.
Sure. The only thing that we need to get rid of is the me. This is the only thing. When there is no me, everything is perfect. We don't have to protect it. We don't have to improve it. We don't have it. The source of all problems are from the me, but nobody says that unless this message, very direct message. Even others, speakers or teachers, they talk to the me to try to go to love. And it's like they try to bypass the me, but the me is always there. But with this kind of message, you understand that the only problem is the me, and then everything is fine. You don't have to care too much about that, and you just accept what is. I really love this message.
Yeah, actually, it is resonance. That's a good point. Thank you. It is resonance. That's it. If this message resonates, you don't, that's it. You're done. That's all you need, is something in you goes, yes. Even if it can even feel like there's really a separate person, doesn't matter. Even if it feels like, God, but it's irrelevant. Is there something that resonates that all is one, that all is the same source, as Nkosi said last week, that you're me and I'm you, because there's only this.
Yeah. It's like anything else it's like echo in a lots of quantity of humans, a lots of quantity of mouse or everything, but we think that this is very, very special, but we have to bring that with us everywhere, and it feels uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So I think this message is wonderful.
It's interesting to navigate the world with this teaching. I was diagnosed with cancer last week, and people keep saying to me, "Oh my God, aren't you scared? Oh, that's so horrible. Oh, I'm so sorry." And it's funny because I have yet. I'm sure the emotion will come, but I have yet to be scared or feel sad or feel like it's horrible. I'm just sort of dealing, like it is what it is. I'm just, looking for doctors, dealing with a bad health insurance situation, doing what we do, but not having a lot of, my first reaction was not, F you world, why me? It was, all right, well, this is where it is right now.
Joanne, can I say something about that?
Yes, please.
It's so funny you should say that, because I literally a couple hours ago, I was just thinking for some, who knows, about cancer. And I was thinking back when I grew up in the 70s, late 60s, early 70s, a big movement was this visualization that you were supposed to visualize sharks eating the cancer. That was the recommendation back in the 70s. This horrible cancer has invaded you, it's the enemy, and you need to visualize, and you can imagine the suffering that people felt, guilt, when the cancer increased. And here they were trying to visualize it going away. And what about loving the cancer?
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead, John.
No, that's the counterintuitive nature. That's just something that's so not obvious to the separate selves we've become, but it's exactly that embrace, that acceptance. It's not even anyone accepting, it's just that wholeness, not fighting itself, that actually can, I don't know the medical ways that it might work, but it seems that there are a lot of stories about when people completely embrace and accept and no longer struggle and resist the sickness or the whatever's going on, that life just seems to harmonize. And that may or may not mean the cancer goes away, but it just seems to be the natural thing to do, to love it. To love, I mean, it's not even anyone loving it. It's just all of this being in harmony with itself, including pains, including emotions, including physical problems, supposed disease, etc. I visited a friend this week also who's very ill with cancer. And there's nothing to say. There's just, and if somebody hasn't explored their true nature, the comments that I received was there's a mixture of excitement and fear going from one to the other. And all you can do is be present. And it seems that that is shared. There's nothing to do. There's nothing to say. There's nothing to convince another person who's never really explored any of this. There's no way of convincing this. If people aren't interested or ready or have explored this naturally, it's naturally exploring itself. There's something that can happen just by not even saying anything, just by loving. And it's the same thing. It's just an extension of the same. I can't think of the word, the same, the way it is, the same isness. It's a beautiful way to explain it, Michael.
Yeah, maybe Nkosi has a few words to say about love.
Yeah, yeah, I would say that there's just this loving itself, hating itself. And there's no real somebody who loves or who hates. It's just this. And there's no real somebody who's sick, even. There's no one who has any disease. There's no one who's suffering. And there's no one, same as there's no one who's talking right now. And as well, this meeting is not for somebody. It's just a meeting. It's just happening. And any story that seems to happen doesn't belong to anyone. No one owns the story. The story is just happening. It seems to happen, but it doesn't belong to anyone. Nothing belongs to anyone because there is no one here. What's happened? What seems to happen right now has got nothing to do with you. It's just happening. Nobody owns anything here because there's nobody here. There's just this. There's no separation. There's wholeness. There's everything here. And this is beautiful. And this loves itself as it is. Nothing needs to be changed here. Exactly what's happening is okay. There is no mistake here. So really, it is seen here that there is really nobody here. So it's just this talking, appearing to have cancer, but there's no real person who is sick, who has cancer. Everything may appear here. This doesn't suppress anything. Every expression is beautiful because it comes from the same source. There is nothing outside of this. There is no pain outside of this. There is no sickness outside of this. Everything is happening in this, and there's nobody. Nothing belongs to anyone. No sickness belongs to you because there's no you. Really, there is no you. It's just this. Can call it wholeness, everything, spaciousness, emptiness, formlessness. It's okay. So there's just unconditional love. Unconditional love. There are no conditions. So what seems to be happening right now is just this happening. Even the cancer itself is this. The talking is this. The wondering is this. The confusion is this. The one not getting this, and the one not getting this, getting it, it's this as well. There's no separate person who's not understanding. There's no separate person who's trying to know this. It's just wholeness. So everything is beautiful, just as it is. And nothing belongs to you because there's no you. It's just unconditional love everywhere.
It's, thank you. And I can, as Michael will say, grok that for myself, right? I totally get that for myself, but it was interesting to me because as you were talking, I was thinking about a situation in the United States that just happened yesterday. We had a school shooting, and 4 kids were killed by another kid. And I was trying to imagine one of those kids or some, kid from that school or parent or a teacher from that school who was involved with that shooting, hearing us talking right now, being like, that's crazy because they're in so much pain, it's, I don't know where I'm going with that, but for some reason, all I could think about was that shooting while you were talking.
Yeah, there was a shooting. But I must say this. Nobody died. Because there's only this. I say it as it is seen here. Because really, it's just this. What seems to be me is just an appearance. They are all appearances. But there's only this. This was never born. This never dies. This is nameless. This is formless. This is empty. Death is just a thought appearing in this. There is really no death. There is no one who's really alive. There's just life. Life is beginless and endless. There's just life everywhere. So really, that's what comes up here to say.
Yeah, yeah, so yeah, to answer your question directly, Joanna, it wouldn't be something you would bring up to grieving parents who are seemingly established as separate selves. But this is about resonance. So we're not talking about hypotheticals, Joanne, you know, other people, that we're just talking about you.
Right.
The Joanna character doesn't exist. The Michael character doesn't exist. The Nkosi character they're characters. So we exist as characters. Everything is a character. It's funny, I even think of like the computer screen as a character, the Post-it note as a character, the wall as a character. It's playing, this plays every role. So it plays the cancer, and it plays the body it appears in, and it plays the conversation, and it plays the healing, and it plays it's all being played out, but it's not happening to anyone.
I get that.
We're all expressions in this interacting at the moment. And this seems to be biology and memory and brain and things that this is interacting through. And part of that biological experience it's just part of the expression, and it's just part of the coalescing of energy into human beings. But in that expression, in this biology, in this body, there are instincts, there are survival instincts. There's a very primal, from wherever it came from, you know, the life seems to have an inbuilt intelligence to look after itself, to live, procreate, interact, experience. And most human beings have a very well established contraction of thought into the identity of self. But even when a lot of people here, there's exploring this, but it's still through a biology, and there's still mind, and there's still instincts flowing through all of this discussion. And that instinct for survival, which is extended into thought, believes itself to be an entity, like the body believes itself to be needing to protect itself and survive, just instinctively on a very primal level. And as this can relax and have sort of less identity, as John, I'm not sure what will happen in a circumstance like that. You know, idealistically, in a non-duality group, you know, I could pat myself on the back and say, it's okay, I'll be fine, and I'll be able to handle it because, you know, there's been some insight into what really is going on. But the instinct, through an experience, physiologically, what has happened was there was the instinct for survival and contraction and worry and fear and all of the biological things which are inexplainably innate. But there's also the space that's appearing in. And so that's like the end result is that there is no one. That is what's going on. That is what's happening. This is just life. But along the way of the mind contracted thought experience, which is tangled in instinct for survival and extension of biology and all these things mixed up together, it's like that perhaps never stops the biological instinct to breathe another breath, or for the heart to beat, or to survive as a biology, may not go away, but it's just life. And if it's not tangled up with the idea of me, it's just life with sensations at that, always in that changeable flux that is the present moment. And the rest of it's just thoughts. And if the thoughts aren't as contracted and perpetuating psychological pain, it can just be a broader view perhaps that relaxes that into this. Everything that's going on is just life, including the cancer, including the fear of the cancer, including the thoughts about this, and including these discussions that are coming through biology. And sometimes it's easy to say that, oh, I won't fear death. I as John, can't say that. I think there may be instinctive fear at death, but there's not a fear of John as a personal individual self dying. There's just life clinging to itself naturally, and the greater pain of the thought of being a separate entity that's never studied by a lot of human beings isn't contributing to any other fear, any other mental fear. So that part of fear of death is gone. But the biology that is speaking probably has instincts that'll still experience sensation and movement towards survival. But it's not a person. It's just part of life. It's just an expression in this, just another instance, the same non-separated instance that we apply thoughts to and hold so dear as our separate self, which is not. It's just thoughts. And another thing I wanted to say is from before. Whenever we talk and compare stories about human beings who have a certain way of being, which is always just what's happening anyway, it can actually cause contraction. You know, I remember sort of talking to some people and I'm thinking, maybe this isn't good. Maybe there's a wanting to share, but sometimes that can instigate contraction and suffering and comparison and judgment in the other, which can actually contribute to their separation, the idea of separation. So sometimes it's just best to, I always say with these things, whatever passes through the moments that happen, the moment, it's all one moment, but whatever passes through with information should just pass through and no longer be. It's done what it's doing. The energy's done what it's doing. It's interacted already. And then we add thoughts later and think about how that, forget all of that. Go away with less. Just let it pass through, resonate, and do nothing, and don't hold on to anything. Because you can't make peace. It's already there. It just needs to be, doesn't need to be anything. It's just, what we're doing here is just interacting, and things that aren't real are being dissolved naturally, interacting. No one doing it. It's just life interacting and resonating if it does. It doesn't matter. Whatever's happening is happening, but we're sharing. This is life sharing itself with itself. maybe for the sake of love, unconditional love, as Nkosi said. Just feels like it's coming back into harmony. It bubbles and expresses into creative intentions, and things happen, and then it seems to love itself back into harmony. And maybe this group is part of that. It's not even an it when I say itself, it's just words.
Any last comments or questions before we close out this evening?
Yes, hello, everybody.
Hey, Alan.
Just coming out of my meditation. First of all, Joe, I wish you all the best.
Thank
I
you.
had a question / observation, because I've done, it's funny because you mentioned visualization earlier. And my question is, like as human beings, we make choices like to join the Zoom meeting because it helps us feel better, right? Or go for a walk, helps us feel better. And so I've used visualization as a benefit, right? As a tool. And so it's a weird context because I understand with regard to Joe, it was sort of you were giving an analogy, but I feel like if there's tools that we want to use that help us. So that was sort of the observation, I guess, last question. I guess I just wanted you to comment on, because visualization, I can also see, I think they've even done studies on the benefits of visualization with regards to diseases or, helping the immune system be stronger, stuff like that. So anyway, I just wanted to make that observation. Also, I was curious what your comment was with regard to that.
Yeah, well, they're not mutually exclusive. So you can use visualization for, like, when I play chess and I teach chess, I teach the kids to visualize the moves in their head rather than on the board. I go here, then he'll go here, then I get to go here, but it's all in the mind. So that would be an example of visualization. And what we're speaking of, though, is not a skill, not a technique. We're talking about you don't have a life, you are life.
But I see the guidance with chess similar to something we might teach with sports and baseball, but in this case, I feel like you're still addressing something that is a tool and is a skill to help enhance. In this case, you could say it's enhancing chess. Someone else could say it's enhancing their better health and well-being, right?
Well, there's no one with better health, or there's no one who's playing chess. It's all this appearing as that. So there's not a real separate person. That's the distinction.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I get it, but I guess I kind of come back to this, like why we're all on the Zoom tonight, right? We're people that are trying to help ourselves as people, like to live a happier, healthier life, or be more in tune with this, or not fall into traps of thoughts or the me. So in a way, I feel like this is strategizing, even if ultimately you could say there's no one to strategize because we're just this. So I totally understand that. I'm not saying I don't understand the message, but I think part of what I come back to when I'm listening to these meetings is that there's like a bridge, we're still, unless we're all living in this, in which case we really wouldn't need to talk because we're already in this, right? So we are in human form and we're making choices to try to help out our human condition, if you will. Now we can say, well, who's asking the question, right? I mean, you can keep going on with that, but the reality of it is that I'd rather meditate in a quiet room next to a chainsaw, right? Because I don't want to get a horrible headache. So I'm going to make that choice as a human being to better my well-being. So I guess that's where it's a very, I know it's a bit of a paradox, but I guess I see visualization as a tool that could be very helpful, in this case, fighting a disease, or it could be very helpful in a chess match, right? They're still tools.
Or it could be looked at that all of this is just happening that way anyway, and then a story is being made up and chasing it all the time, that it's you that's doing those choices and thinking. None of it will stop or do anything any differently because it's doing this. The intelligence of life is doing this anyway. The intelligence of life is moving intelligently into this Zoom meeting, and through human beings, the forms of human beings of itself, it's interacting like this. That's all that's happening. Then the contracted idea of self has to attribute a story about why it's doing that. And there might be life as part of its creative expression, visualizes doing things in part of its movement. There's no I involved, there's no people or individual selves involved in any of that, but it's just happening that way. It could be looked at this way. It's just a little reminder to not attribute anything to anyone. And the mind, as soon as it gets busy again, will automatically say, well, I thought about doing these moves in chess. The intelligence of life as this body, as this human, as this expression, as this interaction is doing that. And then the story of I thinking about or doing it or making a decision or doing a practice is filled in by the thinking mind. It's just thoughts. It's just flowing. It's just life, all of it. Doing that for a while, doing this for a while, changing, thinking about that, adding the story about why it decided to do that concept and that tool and that exercise to make itself. And then those thoughts become, they're so, secretly attributed to the sort of almost subconscious contraction that's been the separate self thought the whole time that the human beings being educated through life in the society we live in. It's just habit. And as that can sort of not be as as assumed, not be as assumed, because it starts to realize it's not that, then different forms of this will have different residue in that contracted story. So that's what I've sort of noticed, that certain people just were innately peaceful and closer to not having as much story, and then other people have got a very heavy story. I think the character of John had a very big story, and everything would have been attributed to that self-center, that self-idea, and that in this still resonant, still is no longer believed, but it still is quite noticeable as the habit is dissolving over time, at time that we talk about. And maybe people that have, anyway, I'm getting off the track. It's just, it might be seen that it's a story about what's happening always. And
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
just looking back at this. So
yeah, the message here is that you've never done anything.
And also, it's perfect because what I shared tonight is this too. So
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
That's when, so maybe Nkosi can take us out when he says you can't go wrong.
Yeah, really, there's no escape. Whatever might be said, it's just this saying it.
Yeah.
There's no Alan who's saying anything. There's no John who's saying anything. There's no Michael. There's no Nkosi. It's just this saying it exactly as it is. It's just this, and it's beautiful. It's okay. This doesn't suppress anything.
Yeah.
This doesn't say this shouldn't be said, and that should be said. No, this exactly what's happening. It's just this happening. There's no one here. The me has never said anything. Doesn't say anything. It's just this. That's it.
So beautiful. Thank you, everybody, so much for coming. Appreciate each and every one of you. I think I'm going to mess it up, but Gailani, I'm sorry, it's French. Thank you for coming. Nkosi, brother, thank you. Everybody, John, everybody, Alice, Anton, Bernie, Joe, feel better. Have a great night, and I'll get this up on YouTube.
Bye.
See you
Bye,
guys.
everybody.
Thanks, everyone.
bye all.
Bye.
Thank you.
Good night.
See ya.
Bye, everyone.